That one's probably too far gone. Definitely a lot of frost damage. The other night we got 32 degrees overnight. A lot of my tomato plants didn't make it because that is a frost. Now, as you can see, some of these tomatoes did okay. These ones will probably make it. This one, probably not. The tomatoes over here did a lot better. I had Agrabah over these. So it protected them just enough. They pulled through. But any advantage I would have had for planting these out early, I probably lost. Right now, I'm working on a bit of a tomato rescue. Something that's unique to tomatoes is that if you bury the stems, they will actually grow roots. So with the tomato plants that I have left, I am building a garden box around them. I'm gonna take my new garden soil and bury these stems up to about here. That way the plants are nice and short to the ground. I'll be able to cover them with Agrabah. It may just help these guys survive because I do have another 37-degree night in the forecast. Let me show you something real quick about this tomato plant here on the end. These are indeterminate tomatoes, meaning they'll grow as tall as you let them. This one, however, the frost took the growing tip. So theoretically, this will not get any taller. What I'm hoping for is a sucker to come right here on that elbow or right here on this elbow. If I get a sucker, I'll just use that as the new growing point. Here's an update on the 3 tomato beds that I built up and put Agrabah over during our frost period. And they're looking really good. I think they'll bounce back and these 3 rows should be okay. And will produce plenty of tomatoes. Look, this one has buds on it already, flowers. This is the garden bed I'm using to plant my dahlias in, and it'll hold 20 dahlias, and I have about 150, so this is just the beginning. But I wanted to show you the root systems on these plants. Right now they're still in their pots, so let me get one out and show you. Okay, so here it is. This one's a little dry and I did a little damage to it when I was pulling it out of the pot, but it still is doing really well. You can see all the roots. This little plant is going to be happy to get into the ground. This variety is called Wizard of Oz. It makes a very pale pink pom-pom type flower, and it's super pretty. It's one of my favorites. So I have 5 of these. Luckily they came first, so I'm getting a head start on them. All right, all 6 of these are in the ground. I have 5 Wizard of Oz, and then this one in the back corner. I don't know the variety. I took a cutting of it from last year just to do an experiment, and it actually grew. I was surprised by that, so I didn't really take any notes. You see, I have that one staked up with a tomato cage. The rest of these will need staked or netted, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. You can also do a method called corralling if you want to use twine. So these will get supported somehow, because once they get tall, they're too fragile and they can break easily. And I'll get these watered in. Here are the first 14 dahlias I'm going to plant. Each individual small tuber. These just happen to be the first ones that I picked up out of one of the boxes that I have. And I also have already written up the markers at the top. These are from Triple Wren Farm, so that's what the TWF is at the top. So I can keep track of where I got that plant from, to have a good idea of how well they did and if I want to order from there again. This rose has some flowers on it. I'm going to clean these anemones out. They're doing okay, but they have some aphids and a lot of the petals are getting spots on them. So I'll probably clean most of these out so I can use this bed for something more productive. This lettuce down here on the end obviously likes our cool weather right now, and the fact that our days are getting more sunny. The sweet peas are doing okay. They're still a little slow, but they're making progress. This cabbage is really big. I cut back the cilantro, but it's already rebounded and taking over still. Here's some more cabbages, lettuce, and this is one of my new roses, and it has tons of buds on it. I can't wait until these bloom. The ranunculus are pretty much done producing, which is sad because they're so pretty. Got a few blooms hanging on, but it definitely wasn't the show that it was before. This is cilantro and spinach, sweet peas, and I think these are leeks. Let's check. Yep, these are leeks. A few ranunculus here. But you can tell this bed is mostly empty. This also used to be a ranunculus bed, but the calendula that I interplanted with it is doing really well. Here's one ranunculus bud that looks really good. And then just a few left over here. The foliage from the daffodils is still really green, so I can't do anything with this bed yet. The Swiss chard that's planted in here looks like it's doing okay, despite the fact that the daffodil greens are taking over still. Here's my other new rose that I planted. It also has buds on it. The radishes that were right here are finished, so I pulled all those out and we ate those for dinner tonight. We've already been getting strawberries off this plant. There's some immature ones down there. Just saw a bird fly out of here. Maybe I have another nest somewhere. The stock that I planted on the last video, they look okay. They haven't really established and taken off yet. There's a few back here that have grown a bit since the last time you've seen them. The potatoes are doing good. I've added some sticks for the peas to grab onto. They are quite tall already. And there are some pods coming on. Right here. So we'll have peas soon. These are red onions that I planted over the winter time, and I just moved them out here maybe in January. They're planted way too close together to get bulbs on them, but I eat them just like green onions. And there's sweet peas on the other side of the trellis. And then these are all the onions that I planted on the last video with the 2 rows of stalk on either side. This rose is one of my transplanted ones, and it's still the strongest one. It has tons of buds. I know the other one bloomed first, but this one looks healthier. And it does have one about to come into bloom. And this anemone bed is definitely finished producing. There's a few flowers, but it does not look great. Most of the foliage is dying back. I do have a shade cover on here because we had a rainstorm blow down a lot of the foliage. And there's a bird nest in here that was left rather exposed, so I kind of covered it up in there. And I have seen mama bird in and out of there a lot, so I think that bird family is doing good. This garden box has more potatoes in it. and they're really taking off. These 3 wine crates have a mixture of calendula and strawberries. There's strawberries ready to eat in this one. I'll have to come through and get those out. These strawberries right here I planted from seed in probably January, mid-January. I'm really excited. I've never tried that before, and I think I planted around 200 seeds and got maybe 25 plants out of it. Here's more strawberries from seed. These strawberries that are producing berries were from bare root. And they're actually 2 or 3 years old. I brought them from our previous house into this garden. The willow are getting pretty tall. I'd say they're a foot tall now. And it looks like everything I transplanted did well. This one right here did the worst, but it's still alive, so we'll let that one go. And hopefully in a year or two I'll be able to be making some wreaths out of this. Still have a bunch of seedlings that need to go into the ground or into the garden beds. They're waiting on their spots to be ready. That's it for today's video. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next tour. Bye.